Are you tired of putting so much effort in the gym but seeing little to no progress in your legs training? Well, I was in the similar boat for the past 7 years until I discovered few tweaks that I implemented in my workout routine that completely changed my leg workout, and I was able to transform my legs from this to this. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Kashan with Kinetics. Before going down deep into my workout routine, let me be clear about this. I divided my leg training in 2 days. Day 1, where I would mostly perform the compound movements like squats, Romanian deadlifts, and Bulgarian split squats. Day 2 was mostly dedicated to the isolation movements where my back is supported. For example, leg extensions, seated machine leg curls, and the reason is simple. You do not want to overdo the back involved movements because it will lead to fatigue that will cause suboptimal performance on day 2 of the workout. I started my leg workouts with the hamstring related exercises, and the reason was simple. Doing your hamstrings first will bring up your weak muscles and grow them stronger. My hamstrings were weaker compared to my quads, so it made sense to me to start my workout with the hamstring related exercise. The second reason is it will warm up your joints before going into the squat dominant exercises, and when you do the first exercise that's not quad dominant, the blood will flow through the legs and you will feel more comfortable while doing the heavy squat. So the favorite exercise to target the hamstrings first on day 1 was Romanian deadlift. Now I followed these 4 tips to make my RDL feel perfect in every way. Point number 1 is to start the RDLs with a pre-stretch position. So instead of standing vertical and starting your RDL from the dead stop, start by slightly bending forward. What it will do is that it will pre-stretch your hamstring and at the same time creates an instant mind-muscle connection. Point number 2 is that as you descend, consciously think about keeping your chest up because it will keep your spine neutral. Third is to consciously remind yourself to always push your knees back. Why? If your knees are more bent, the tension that you've so hardly generated during the pre-stretch condition completely goes away and shifts to the glutes. All we want is to keep the tension to your hamstrings throughout the whole descent. So that is why consciously thinking about keeping your knees back as you go down is critical. Second exercise, I switched from low bar squat to high bar squat. Now I have to admit, for the majority of my leg training sessions, I have been doing lower bar squat and I have been feeling in my quads, but the size that I have right now, I wouldn't be able to achieve this size hadn't I made a careful switch to the high bar squat. Now I want you guys to pause at this moment and let me know why would you think the number 1 reason I was able to develop bigger quads with high bar squat. When you perform the lower bar squat, since you place the bar on the lower trapezius muscles, it naturally forces your hip to shift backwards. And in order to counterbalance the backward shift, your upper body will try to lean forward to balance your body on the center line of gravity. In the case of high bar squat, since you're placing the bar in the upper trapezius muscle, it naturally forces your body to be more upright. More upright your body stays, more the exercise will be quad dominant because your knees are bending more as compared to the lower bar squat. So here are the 2 key differences. 1, in case of lower bar squat, you're flexing your hips more your hips are flexed, more the exercise is glutes and hamstrings dominant. More the exercise is focused on the knee flexion, more the exercise will be quad dominant. So that is why high bar squat is the clear winner. In case of high bar squat, I'm placing the bar on the upper trapezius muscles, which naturally forces my body to stay more upright and hence flexing my knees more as compared to the lower bar squat. As mentioned earlier, more the knee flexion, more quad dominant the exercise will be. So if your target is to build quads and you're doing squats, you're better off opting for the high bar squat than the lower bar squat. Since the total tension is directed on my quads now, I had to cut down my weight to about 20% less than what I used to lift in the lower bar squat. But it was worth it because my quads were much better than before. After completing your regular set, what I used to do was to perform the partial repetitions with my body weight. And the reason is I wanted to completely exhaust my quad muscles and milk out the last inch of growth that I wanted in my quads. Remember, performing the partial repetitions in the difficult movement pattern like squats is very difficult because there's a risk of injury, yes, even in Smith machine. But doing it with your body weight is a much better option. Now, if you're someone who dreads the idea of doing the high bar squat because you think that the placement of bar around your neck will cause pain in your neck, there's a workaround. You can put a foam pad or even wrap a towel around the bar to make things easier for you. Second, if you're someone who hates the idea of flexing the knee or find the movement difficult, what you can do is to invest in a heel raiser or a sports shoe with the heel raised. What it does is that it raises your heel and it naturally flexes your knee without you having to think about it. Typically, when you perform squats, the main issue is the heels come off the ground. So using the heel raiser will limit your ability to raise your heels while performing this movement, making it smoother for you. Guys, if you're getting any value out of this video so far, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. The next exercise is Bulgarian split squat. Now guys, don't dread the idea of ditching this exercise completely. I know that when I used to do this exercise, I used to feel very unstable. My knees used to hurt and I was feeling wobbly, unstable. So there was a no-no in my list until I found a workaround. The main issue of stability can be handled by grabbing any kind of support that is available. So what I used to do is that if I am in front of the leg press machine, I would grab with one hand any part that would support me from the leg press machine and would do the quad movement easily. Or you can grab anything that you think that would provide you stability, because guys, if you're stable in this exercise is as good, but I would consider even better than squats, because your back is not involved in the movement, not as tiring. Also, you're able to completely isolate and burn your quads because the knee flexion is greater. In order to increase tension on your quads, you can grab your heel raiser if you have invested in it, put it on the ground, put your feet on top of it, and it will increase the level of intensity and burn on your quads, leg extensions. There's only one change that I made, was instead of keeping the default setting of the back pad, I pushed the back pad all the way back so that it opened up my hip angle. And remember, more the distance from your knees to your hip, more is the stretch on your rectus femoris. And this part of the muscle is mostly neglected in all of the other quad based exercises. Now, putting a yoga mat or a thick pad between your shins and leg pad will increase the tension in your rectus femoris even more. Next, I changed the position of my torso while doing the seated leg curl machine for hamstrings. Here's how to set up the equipment. Step number one is to adjust the back seat pad. Now, here are two other levers in this machine. Lever number two is used to make sure that you adjust the leg pad based on your torso. But remember, higher the leg pad, higher will be the tension on the hamstring because the distance it travels is further. The last lever is to adjust the knee positioning. It will allow you to move the lever forward or backward a little based on how you want to place your knees on the leg pad. Now, instead of performing this exercise by leaning backwards, lean forward a little bit, grab the handles with both hands, and then execute the movement. This movement pattern resembles similar to the Romanian deadlift initial movement as I explained earlier, because the advantage of this movement or leaning forward is that it puts your hamstring in a pre-stretched position. You have to cut down your weight, but it makes sure that there's a constant tension on your hamstrings throughout the range of motion. I hope you found a lot of value in this video, and if you're someone who limits in his ability to perform the squat movements because you feel the lower back pain, you're probably going to check out this video next, and I will see you next week.